finish.
You can hit boundaries.
You guys doing today? Yeah. I turn on the news and it seems like I'm seeing deja vu. The same headline but a different face. Unarmed black man shot down by police officers. But racism doesn't exist. At least that's what they tell us. Just because we no longer walk in chains, they claim that we're free, but I find it hard to believe because I still walk down the street looking over my shoulder, terrified at the possibility of seeing flashing red lights following me. This is America, my home, our home, and so what happens here on this soil, on our soil, it affects you, it affects you, it affects you, it affects you, and each and every one of the rest of you in this room. And so we all have a responsibility to be aware of what's going on all around us. Racism has not been disintegrated. It's merely moved its dwelling place underground and made itself up to seem less subtle by way of institutionalized racism. See, I firsthand have been a victim of racism and prejudice. I've seen mothers pull their children closer walking past me, and I've observed store owners lock objects on me like suspicion follow me through the door. First and foremost, in order to be able to identify racism in our society, it's necessary for me to give you an example. Secondly, in order to have an idea of exactly how it's occurring, I should give you a definition. And with those things in mind, the question arises, how can we truly do away with institutionalized racism in America? Nevertheless, even though racism is less visible, it still exists in America today. So what exactly is institutionalized racism? Institutionalized racism is giving a negative treatment to a group of people based on race by way of government institutions, courts of law, and schools, things like this. What institutionalized racism does is it leads to inequality and oppression of groups affected. For example, when blacks were forbade to attend certain schools, what it did was it attributed to the unequal education that blacks were receiving. Robert Slayton from the Huffington Post said, "The more subtle forms of racism totally get away with it because they don't fit easy stereotypes." So basically what institutionalized racism is this racism without consequence. A professor of economy from London, Rodney Shakespeare, said America is full of institutionalized racism. The proof is that African Americans come at the bottom of statistics for health, housing, education, and unemployment, but come at the top of statistics for being shot while unarmed. There's examples of institutionalized racism all across America. For example, the stop and frisk law that's been implemented in New York City. What the stop and frisk law is it allows police officers to stop people based on suspicion. Well, the look of suspicion is subjective. So what it does is it allows these officers to pick out who they want to pick out and say it's because they look suspicious. Really, there's no exact definition. So where you might say he looks suspicious, he might say she looks suspicious, when none of y'all ain't doing nothing in the first place. The U.S. Department of Justice said that on average, African Americans are 3 times more likely to spend time in prison than a Caucasian male. However, based on the FBI, Caucasians account for about 69% of crime in America, while African Americans account for only 28%. If you look at the graph, the big tall one, that's African Americans. The one next to it, that one is Caucasian males. So you can see the difference. So basically what this is saying that I'm 3 times more likely to spend time in jail, but 3 times less likely to commit a crime. Now, it's terrifying in today's day and age to exist in America as a black man. Every day, people are getting harassed, people are getting shot. These are 3 men right here. unarmed black men that got shot down by police officers. This man, Oscar Grant, lost his life on the New Year. So that's one child left without a father. This man next to him, Eric Garner, was strangled. For what? For nothing. The man was breaking up a fight, and they didn't like where he was standing, they didn't like what he was doing, so they started to harass him. He was tired of it, so he took a stand and they strangled him. This man, also a young man, 20 years old, shot in New Orleans. That's another family without a son. Each and every one of those men on that screen, that could easily be my face. So for me to walk the streets of America with the racism that exists is terrifying. It really is. And maybe it seems far out of reach and above our pay grade to make a change, but we really can make a difference. See, it's up to our generation to change our mindset, and in turn, our children will change their mindsets, and their children will change their children's mindsets. And so, eventually, we'll live in a colorblind nation. And our votes matter. See, it's our responsibility to go out and vote for representatives that believe in the same thing we believe, because if we don't do that, then those above us who are making the policies and are putting the institutionalized racism into place, they're still there, they're still in power. All things considered, racism is alive and well, and it finds its breath in institutionalized racism, which is simply put as racism on the logo. Government policies provide platform for institutionalized racism, which contributes to inequality of incarceration rates. And in order to end racism, we have to start now. It all starts now with us. See, it's only a matter of time before the police stop me and it's my innocent face you see on your TV screen. That is, unless we stop racism first.